Okay. Díobh Cardia, yes, we're Craig Podge, Golding. Here we are in the city of Dublin, in the centre of Dublin, in Club na Múinteoirí, the Teachers Club, and it's lovely to be back in a live singing session with live people. We've missed it over the last 2 years. Just a special hello to all our friends around the world who are logged in on Facebook and on YouTube. This has been streamed by this fantastic push-pull collective. So we have Jamie and Dave who are doing great work here for us. So we're going to start, 3 singers to start, and I've asked Frank Nugent to sing the first song, Rosie Davis to sing the second song, and Pat Burke will sing the third song. So here we go, the first of tonight. Thank you very much.
Game brought glory, glory to your name. Though March winds blew, the crowd still came to watch you, gentle hero. As night's long march, you made us proud, and many's the voice from out the crowd called out your name, oh, aloud, aloud. An echo still resounding. Oh, and Blackstare's men who saw you then, they still speak of you in awe. Oh, and Carmen's Green, where you have been, how they tell of what they saw. How we watched you on September fields, and lightning was the drive. How you were the one, Cuchulain's son, in 1955. The hand that held a stick of ash, the man who led with style and dash. Oh, Carricktool once felt the crash, and Bennett's Bridge and Turles. And when in later life you beat at a divil on that lonely street, you showed us how to take defeat with dignity and courage. Oh, and Blackstare's men who saw you then, they still speak of you in awe. Oh, and Carmen's Green, where you have been, they tell of what they saw. How we watched you on September fields, and lightning was the drive. How you were the one, Cuchulain's son, in 1955. Oh, the last parade was sad and slow, the last oration spoken low. And as on green fields long ago, the diamond stood beside you. Old friends, they flanked you side by side, and the tears that flowed were tears of pride. Oh, an ash tree toppled when you died, and scattered seed at random. Oh, and Blackstare's men who saw you then, they still speak of you in awe. Oh, and Carmen's Green, where you have been, they tell of what they saw. How we watched you on September fields, and lightning was the drive. How you were the one, Cuchulain's son, in 1955. Nicky Rackert.
A lady fair went walking down by the river's side. The crystal tears fell from her eyes as I walked by her side. Then from her trembling bosom these words she spoke so true. Saying, friend, I fear my William's slain. at lonely Waterloo. What were the clothes your William wore? The soldier did reply. He wore a Highland bonnet with the feathers standing high. A bright broadsword hung by his side, o'er his dark suit of blue. These were the clothes my William wore at lonely Waterloo. Well, if they were the clothes your William wore, I saw his dying day, when the bayonet pierced his tender heart, as on the ground he lay. He stretched me out his dying hand, the Frenchman had him slew. 'Twas I that closed your William's eyes at lonely Waterloo. She said, "Oh, Willie, dearest William," then she could say no more. She flung herself down on her knees as I these tidings bore. If I had the wings of a little bird, it straightways I would fly. I'd fly to lonely Waterloo, where my true love does lie. I'd light on my love's bosom, my sorrow to remove. I'd kiss my William's clay-cold lips as a token of true love. And a single maiden I'll remain, to none I will prove true, since my William lies with sightless eyes at lonely Waterloo. Thank you.
Willie Taylor, he was a lover, full of love and loyalty, until his mind it did discover unto a handsome lady gay. She dressed herself up like a sailor, on her breast she wore a star, her beauteous fingers so small and slender, all got smeared by the pitch and tar. On board that vessel there being a scrimmage, and she being one among the best, a silver buckle fell off of her jacket, and there exposed a snow-white breast. Well, says the captain unto this lady, "What misfortune has brought you here?" "Well, I'm on the search of my own true lover, whom you pressed to see 1 year. If you're on the search of your own true lover, pray then tell to me his name." "Kind sir," says she, "it is Willie Taylor, and indeed right well don't you know the same." "Well, if your true lover is Willie Taylor, indeed right well now I know the same, for he signed on board as a dry land sailor, and stayed behind on the Isle of Grain. But if you rise early tomorrow morning, early by the break of day, it's there you will find bold Willie Taylor, and he walking out with his lady gay." So she rose early the next morning, early by the break of day, and there she did spy bold Willie Taylor, and he walking out with his lady gay. Good morrow to you, Willie Taylor. What misfortune has brought you here? Now have you heard from your love, Nancy, whom you left at home in tears? Asher, what care have I for my love, Nancy? What care have I for her or you? For as my faded strings get older, I'll buy fresh silk for to make them new. Well, then she did order a sword and a pistol, a sword and pistol at her right hand, and there she shot bold Willie Taylor, and she sabred the lady at his right hand. Well, the captain he ordered a recommendation for the deed that she has done, and made her chief and head commander on board of a ship in the Isle of Man. Well, now she is married unto that captain. She has servants at her command, and cares no more for Willie Taylor nor for any other man. Thank you.
Want to swap places? No, no.
There lived a wealthy merchant in London town did dwell. He had an only daughter, the truth to you I'll tell. Lay the lily low, oh lay the lily low. This daughter had a sweetheart, his name was Jack Monroe, and to defend his country to the war he had to go. Lay the lily low, oh lay the lily low. Now Jack he went a-sailing with trouble on his mind. He's leaving from this country with his own sweetheart behind. Lay the lily low, oh lay the lily low. This sweetheart she did dress herself in men's array, and to the War Department she then did march away. Lay the lily low, oh lay the lily low. Your waist is slim and slender, your fingers they are small, your cheeks too red and rosy to face the cannonball. Lay the lily low, oh lay the lily low. I know my waist is slender, my fingers they are small, but it would not make me tremble to see 10,000 fall. Lay the lily low, oh lay the lily low. Before you come on board, sir, your name we'd like to know. A smile played o'er her countenance, they call me Lily Monroe. Lay the lily low, oh lay the lily low. The drums began to beat, and the fifes did freely play. Straight into the field of battle, they all did march away. Lay the lily low, oh lay the lily low. And when the war was over, she searched the ground all round. Among the dead and wounded, her darling boy she found. Lay the lily low, oh lay the lily low. She gathered him up all in her arms and carried him to the town, and sent for a London doctor to heal his bleeding wounds. Lay the lily low, oh lay the lily low. This couple they were married, so well did they agree, This couple, they were married, so why don't you and me lay the lily low, lay the lily low.
I went to church on Sunday. My love, she passed me by. I knew her mind was changing by the roving of her eye, by the roving of her eye, by the roving of her eye. I knew her mind was changing by the roving of her eye. My love is fair and proper, her hands are neat and small, and she is quite good looking, and that's the best of all. And that's the best of all. And that's the best of all. And she is quite good looking, and that's the best of all. Oh, Hannah, loving Hannah, won't you give to me your hand? You said if you're ever married, that I would be the one, that I would be the one, that I would be the one. You said if you're ever married, that I would be the one. I will go down by the river when everyone's asleep, and I'll think on loving Hannah, and then lay down and weep, and then lay down and weep, and then lay down and weep, and I think on loving Hannah, and then lay down and weep. I went to church on Sunday. My love, she passed me by. I knew her mind was changing by the roving of her eye, by the roving of her eye, by the roving of her eye. I knew her mind was changing by the roving of her eye. There's some fidgety folk that we always have known who are famous for being out too soon. For 2 o'clock dinner or 4 o'clock tea, they are safe to arrive around noon. Such a whimsical fancy will never be me own, although the reverse is me fate. For it always occurs that wherever I go, I'm exactly 10 minutes too late. Punctuality's all very proper, I know, but all hurry and worry I hate. For it always occurs that wherever I go, I'm exactly 10 minutes too late. When I climb in a hansom or jump on a bus to be nicely in time for a train, I'm all in a fever and quite in a fuss, though I know that me effort's in vain. When I find myself safe at the station at last, and believe it 5 minutes to 8, I observe by the clock that it's 5 minutes past, so that I am 10 minutes too late. Punctuality's all very proper, I know, but all hurry and worry I hate, for it always occurs that wherever I go, I'm exactly 10 minutes too late. I was once in me life very deeply in love. I courted in verse and in prose. I went there with a lock of her hair in me glove. I'd made up me mind to propose. As me cab rode away, I knocked at the door. The answer decided my fate. My rival arrived just 10 minutes before, so that I was 10 minutes too late. Punctuality's all very proper, I know, but all hurry and worry I hate, for it always occurs wherever I go. I'm exactly 10 minutes too late. I could sing for a month if I wrote in a song the misfortunes I've had to endure, for this habit that's haunted me all my life long, and will haunt me till death, I am sure. When this misfit career is approaching its end, and I lie in a critical state, no matter what physics me doctor will send, he'll send them 10 minutes too late. Punctuality's all very proper, I know, but all hurry and worry I hate, for it always occurs that wherever I go, I'm exactly 10 minutes too late.
Thanks very much, George. Next three singers, Fergus Russell and Annie Hughes might give us a song then. Thank you. And Mick Keeley, if you can drag yourself away from the door, we'll get Mick to sing a song as well. Thanks very much. So Fergus, Annie and Mick.
When the birds were in full tune, at first I met the starling little crater. Her eyes they shone as bright as the twinkling stars at night, and a kind smile played upon her every feature. I said, me darling Belle, your name to me pray tell, for you're just the sort of girl I admire. She shook her pretty head, and blushingly she said, me name's Diana Kitty Annie Mariah. If you could only see her feet as she's tripping down the street, she's just the sort of girl to admire. Such a girl is seldom seen, she is the pride of Stephen's Green. She's me darling Diana Kitty Annie Mariah. And when we're in the Phoenix Park, you can hear the swells remark, I'd like to give that girl a dozen kisses, or I'd give a quarter's pay for to run with her away. Oh, wouldn't that be the pinnacle of blisses? The tall soldiers in the guards, they wink at her so hard, and the manly foreigners most girdles do admire. But the winking games won't do, for she sticks to me like glue. There's me darling Diana, Kitty, Annie Mariah. If you could only see her feet as she's tripping down the street, she's just the sort of girdle to admire. Such a girl is seldom seen, she is the pride of Stephen's Green. She's me darling Diana, Kitty, Annie Mariah. And I took her to a ball up in the Carmen Hall. Well, you should have seen her going through the Lancers on the light fantastic toe. She around and round it go, and she really did astonish all the dancers. A polka she can dance like any girl from France. I'd no idea she was such a flyer. She's light and brisk and airy like a little flying fairy. She's me darling Diana, Kitty, Annie Mariah. If you could only see her feet as she's tripping down the street, she's just the sort of girdle to admire. Such a girl is seldom seen, she is a pride of Stephen's Green. She's me darling Diana, Kitty, Annie Mariah. And she can sing like Annie Lark from daylight until dark. She'll be singing on the Royal come next season. And believe me, it is true what I am going to tell to you. She has a song for every occasion. Some singers that I see can only sing to G, but she can sing an octave or two higher. Oh, I'll no longer tarry, she's the girl I'm going to marry. She's me darling Diana, Kitty, Annie Mariah. If you could only see her feet as she's tripping down the street, she's just the sort of girdle to admire. Such a girl is seldom seen, she is the pride of Stephen's Green. She's me darling Diana, Kitty, Annie Mariah. And now to end me song, before it gets too long, to the clergy I am going to send a warning. They will join us into one, just like a penny hot cross bun, 3 weeks from next Monday morning. How happy we will be with a little family. 1 gossin and 4 girdles are required. The little chap, you see, will be called Fergus after me, and the girls Diana, Kitty, Annie Mariah. If you could only see her feet as she's tripping down the street, she's just the sort of girdle to admire. Such a girl is seldom seen, she is the pride of Stephen's Green. She's me darling Diana, Kitty, Annie Mariah. She is me darling Diana, Kitty, Annie Mariah.
Macrogon Cade Cantu Eleanor Aru Isertsa Avinus Minav Trotami Memory Magragon Selu Macade Shark Suis Jeshana Banerin Savrona Linda Souk Suis Jeshis Mil Shipok Akunas Warit Sibyo began mirth Maris Jasamara Yolin Nagan Alath Eleanor Bualiki gumela she Nine laton gron Svi bualiki gudoge she On corp for on mas Svi bualaki na ke Oh, I thought someone was prompting me. It's okay, Savrona linda sauk, Stu is jeshes mil shepok, Akun is where it's sibyo began a mirth. Maris jas amara yolin nagan alat Eleanor Arun San chokatu nuvana tu Eleanor Arun Nu onanante nakana Muquitante les astor O took me akni on me Is montañon ante nakon me Savrona linda sauk Stu is jeshes mil shepok Akun is where it's sivyo began a mirth Maris jas amara yolin nagan alat Eleanor Arun. And I
Oh, crowd in your brave who breast a wave and listen to my wail. 'Twas not so weird was ever heard before in Inish Vale. But make you weep and gnash your teeth and turn your heart to stone. For Carney's Christ gone west deceased and left for parts unknown. We've searched in vain from Watery Lane to the wilds of Inchicore. The seventh loch conceals him not, nor far Clondalkin shore. Your aunt may sigh and pipe her eye, and speak with whispered tones. For Carney Slick has cut his stick and left for parts unknown. No more he'll breast a cuckoo's nest or ramble in old Bon. The dodder trout can venture out, their poaching foe is gone. No more he'll gush poetic slush while tortured tipplers moan. Be book or crook, he slung his hook and left for parts unknown. Now every day I draw me pay and wander far and near. I lap up stout till bloated out to see if I can hear. Be any chance where Carney haunts or where he might sojourn. 'cause I'll tell you, boys, I'll be surprised if he does not return. Now there's something new, I hope 'tis true, to ease our hearts once more. For Carney knew a lad or two be Dolphin's barn shore. And they all say that knew his ways, if Carney wants a jar. There's little doubt his ghost hangs out inside the Grafton bar. So heave you home, me hearty boys, and swift the anchor weigh, and lead the horse upon its course to Portobello Bay. And when we're tied, no time we'll bide, but we'll go be bus and car, to drink a toast with Carney's ghost inside the Grafton bar. Let's all drink a toast to Carney's ghost inside the Grafton bar.
Okay, well, before I call the next three singers, we're doing this backwards. We're not online, but some people are watching us online, and I just wanted to call out a few of the names, some very familiar to us. Alice Farrell, Perlman, Dervlin Nivrolchain, Gavin Byrne, Paul Tobin, Robert Wolfe, Grania Niguri, Elizabeth Healy, and Marge Steiner, who sends love and peace to everyone, but especially to Len. So I'm going to call three singers. If I can find my list, I'm calling Francie Devine first. I'm then going to call Mary O'Connor, and then I'm going to call Micheál Quinn. Thanks.
Okay, well, I'm sure I'm not the first, but appropriate to dedicate this to the late Seamus McMahon, who unfortunately left us this week. I'm currently researching the Mullingar Trade and Labour Union, and in doing that I'm going through the Westmeath Examiner. And I found this, unfortunately, anonymously published in the Westmeath Examiner in September 1917. So about 15 months after the Rising, which is appropriate when you hear the hero in the song. Come all ye bold Sinn Féiners and give three hearty cheers for the very gallant General of the Irish Volunteers. Sure he showed us how to shoulder arms and how to march and wheel. Oh, we missed him sore in Easter week, bold General John McNeill. In Dublin on the Liffey's Quay, the forecourts they do stand, where every day the councillors do play the devil's hand. 'Twas there our hero learned to march at every judge's heel. For England's pay he worked all day, brave General John McNeill. And when the university was set up in our land, he got a job of teaching boys most elegant and grand. Each evening when his work was done, he'd dance a four-hand reel and sing a nation once again, brave General John McNeill. A most accomplished gentleman of European fame, he showed us how the English would soon be brought to shame. And when our plans were all prepared to give them fire and steel, should he put the kibosh on them all, did General John McNeill. But when the boys went out to fight against the Saxon foe, he didn't lead his company out to the GPO. And when they called on him to march, he answered their appeal. Sure, I was only cotton boys, says General John McNeill. So he's now a mighty leader when all the fighting's done. He's going to free old Ireland with a rusty German gun. And when the war is over and peace they're going to seal, sure they'll wire to Dublin Castle for General John McNeill. Then fall in all true Sinn Féiners and give 3 hearty cheers. Salute your gallant General of the Irish Volunteers, for when the bugle call to arms and the guns begin to peal, he'll rally his men with a fountain pen, brave General John McNeill, especially for Mr. McDowell.
Well, this is a song about a brave young Irish woman who had to leave her home well over 100 years ago. And I suppose I was reminded of her when I see what's happening all over Europe at the moment. It's Isle of Hope. On the first day of January 1892, they opened Ellis Island and left the people through. And the first to cross the threshold of that Isle of Hope and Tears was Annie Moore from Ireland. She was only 15 years. Isle of Hope, Isle of Tears, Isle of Freedom, Isle of Fears. But it's not the isle you left behind, that Isle of hunger, Isle of pain, isle you'll never see again. But the Isle of home is always on your mind. In a little bag she carried all her past and history, her hopes for the future in that land of liberty. For courage is your passport when your old life disappears. There's not much future in your past when you are 15 years. Isle of Hope, Isle of Tears, Isle of Freedom, Isle of Fears. But it's not the isle you left behind, that Isle of hunger, Isle of pain, isle you'll never see again. But the Isle of home is always on your mind. Now they closed down Ellis Island in 1943. 17 million people had come there for sanctuary. I went there in the springtime when I stepped down on its piers. I thought of what it must be like when you are 15 years. Isle of Hope, Isle of Tears, Isle of Freedom, Isle of Fears. But it's not the isle you left behind, that Isle of hunger, Isle of pain, isle you'll never see again. But the Isle of home is always on your mind. That's it.
novel late as I rambled by the side of a clear purling stream. I sat down on a bed of primroses, and then quickly fell into a dream. I dreamt I beheld a fair female, her equal I'd ne'er seen before, and she sighed as she thought of her country, and she strolled around Erin's green shore. Her eyes were like two sparkling diamonds, or the stars on a cold frosty night. Her cheeks were like two blooming roses, her skin like the ivory white. She was dressed in the richest attire, and green was the mantle she wore, tied around with the shamrocks and roses that bloom around Erin's green shore. I quickly approached this fair female, saying, "My jewel, pray tell me your name, for really you're a stranger, or I would not have asked you the same." She appeared like the goddess of freedom, and liberty's emblem she wore. She's the sweet blooming nymph of the valley, and the flower of Erin's green shore. She answered, "Kind sir, I'm a stranger, but my mind unto you I'll disclose. I'm here in the midst of all danger, and I don't know my friends from my foes. I came here to visit your island. From England I've lately sailed o'er. I have come to awaken my brothers who slumber around Erin's green shore. I see you're a true son of Grania, so my mind unto you I'll disclose. Go to the meeting at Maclaurinell, and there truly your enemies expose. For when you possess true wisdom, no enemy can call to your door, and the joys of real freedom will beam on the poor around Erin's green shore. In transports of joy I awoke then, but alas it was only a dream. Then beautiful damsel had vanished, and I longed for to see her again. May the powers above be her guardian, for I'll never see her more. And may the sunbeams of freedom illumine the natives of Erin's green shore.
Absolutely fantastic singing, Micheál. Thank you very much. And it's most appropriate. It's most appropriate that Micheál would sing because our guest tonight is he lives in the same village that Micheál was born in, and that's in Mullaban in County Armagh. And what can we say about Len Graham? About 1971, I went to the All-Ireland Flackyole in Listowel, and I went to the men's senior ballad singing competition. And Len Graham won at that time. That was a very good period because I think in 1972 Frank Hart won it. So it was a good period for senior winners in the men's ballad singing competition. So can you give a great welcome to Len Graham? Thank you very much.
I was a short trousers at that time. However, good to see you all anyway, I can tell you. It's been a long hibernation. I now know how a grizzly bear feels up in Alaska when it wakes up out of the cowl. Here I am amongst you, and I'm here because I'm here, and I'm only 12 months older than I was this time last year. Oh, never throw a brick at a drowning man when you're near to a grocer's store. Just throw him a cake of sunlight soap, let him wash himself ashore. With me tour, with me tour, ride along with me tour, with me tour, early to bed, early to rise, the same I don't think true. For how in the hell can a man go to bed when he has none to go to? And the more a man has, the more a man wants, the same I don't think true. For I never met a man with one black eye that wished that he had two. With me tour, me tour, ride along with me tour, me tour, Now we once had a doctor and his name was Dr. Black. He fell down the well and he sprained his neck. Well, you know it served him right, sure he ought to have stayed at home. Doctors heal the sick and leave the well alone. With me tour, me tour, ride along with me tour, me tour, Now the world is getting smaller and we're running out of space. So we're chopping down the trees for to tidy up the place. Then we're going on our holidays, and when there isn't room, instead of going to the sun, we're going to the moon. With me tour, me tour, ride along with me tour, me tour, I was walking in the sunshine, I was choking for a drink, when I saw a woman coming in a cardigan of pink. How far, says I, to the well at Carrickdon? She says it's just a 10-minute walk if you run. With me tour, me tour, ride along with me tour, me tour, 1 and 2 was a race horse, and 2-1 was 1-2. 1-2-1 a race once I, and 2-1-1 1-2. With me tour, me tour, ride along with me tour, me tour, Now we once had a teacher and his name was Mr. Brown. He played mighty football with the lads in Newry town, but he got himself in trouble, for instead of kicking ball, he kicked the referee and got in trouble with the law. With me tour, me tour,
Ride along me to Now to conclude and finish, I think I'll end me song. And I hope I help you smile and I didn't keep you long. Stale bread in the cupboard and hard cheese on the shelf. If you want any more, you may sing it yourself. Well, that's a few verses of a song that started off with 4 verses, and Joe Holmes and I recorded that way back in the 70s for Topic of Records of London, and with a sort of a minor miss with it, but Kevin Caniff of the Chieftains recorded it, and I think he had a sort of a minor hit with it, but that's another story. We always seem to get the minor misses. Anyway, there's all sorts of people keep on adding verses, and I've left an awful lot out there tonight. I forgot to sing Kevin's verse. He wrote a verse for it. But who did I sing tonight? Sang one by Tommy Sands, and his brother, Colin, his was the eco-friendly verse. There's one of my own verses in there somewhere, I think. Martin O'Connor wrote a verse there. He did quantum physics at university, so I think his was a mathematical verse. And various people anyway, but the man that got most value out of that wee bit of nonsense is Professor Paul Muldoon, a County Armagh man. He's Professor of English in Princeton University in New Jersey. And he managed to get, well, I was saying 48, but somebody corrected me and said it was actually 49 verses in his first collection called Quoth that came out in the early 80s. He heard Joe and me sing it, and he decided to write an epic on it, a fantasy. Anyway, we heard there about Ellis Island in a song, and it reminded me of a song that I heard in the back room of a pub, and I got most of my education in back rooms of public houses. This particular public house, and Jack Lynch, who's here tonight, and I were doing something, Pat Butcher Boy McCabe from Clones, County Monaghan, organised a great festival there for several years, and Jack and I were honoured to be asked to it. It was called the Flat Lake Festival, a very eclectic mix from the sublime to the ridiculous, with even karaoke sheep in one of the acts. There was all sorts of things, and you'd have all sorts of people. Seamus Heaney was there one year, and Anne Enright, who won the Booker Prize, and various other people. Anthony Cronin was there and gave a great talk all about the years of Patrick Kavanagh and Brendan Behan and all that there. He was on. There was a great festival altogether. But I was talking, we were booked into this bed and breakfast in Clones, and I was talking to the man that owned the bed and breakfast, and I said, I noticed that the Leonard Arms is all boarded up. Now, there were 2 All-Ireland flakiols in Clones, County Monaghan in 1960s, 1964 and 1968. I was at both of them. And in 1964, I met Cathal McConnell for the first time in the back room of the Leonard Arms, along with Pecky Manus Byrne and a wee man called Peter Flanagan, who was a mentor of Cathal McConnell's, gave him songs and tunes, played the tin whistle. And I asked this man why the Leonard Arms was all boarded up. Did nobody renovate it? And it was a nice wee hotel and bar, you know. I says, that man made so much money at those 2 flakiols in 1964 and 68 that he closed it up and he bought himself a farm of land. So the reason I'm telling you that is the song I heard in that back room of the Leonard Arms was by that wee man, Peter Flanagan. And before Ellis Island was opened in 1893, there was a place down in Manhattan Island called Castle Garden, and that's where they used to process the immigrants coming in from Europe and Ireland and all sorts of places. So this mentions Castle Garden, so it must predate Ellis Island, probably the time of the famine, or in around that time anyway. Farewell, my kind relations and my friends, both one and all. My land is in America, though I may rise or fall. From my cabin I'm of England, likewise compelled to go, and to leave the land where we were reared, where the green shamrock grows. Hurrah me, boys, and the sails are spread, and the tide is running fast. Down the loch we sailed away from the town of Belfast, to seek for bread and labour, as we're compelled to go, and to leave the land where we were reared, where the green shamrock grows. I owed the landlord 2 years' rent. I wish I owed him more. One day the cardly bailiff pinned a notice on our door. I bid farewell to the ones I love. It grieves me 10 times more to leave the house my father built some 30 years or more. Farewell unto my comrades with whom I used to sport, and those happy hours together with them I didn't resort. There's one I leave behind me, and it grieves me 10 times more to leave her in old Ireland, where the green shamrock grows. Hurrah me, boys, and the sails are spread, and the tide is running fair, and we're bound for Castle Garden. In a few days we'll be there, to seek for bread and labour, as we're compelled to go, and to leave the land where we were reared, where the green shamrock grows. Well, I mentioned Tommy Sands there, and last weekend, I think it was Sunday, they played a very appropriate song for the times that we're living in. And it was Tommy Sands and Dolores Kane. It was a version of this song that I'd never heard before, a very beautiful version of it. And by Pete Seeger, Where Have All the Flowers Gone? And I thought it was a very, very appropriate song with what the circumstances that we're living under at the moment. Now, when will they ever learn is the real message in the song. When will they ever learn? Pete Seeger's half-sister, Peggy Seeger, wrote a wonderful song a wee bit after that. I think Pete wrote that away back in the 50s. But she wrote one back in the early 60s. And I had a good friend who was living in London and brought the song over and gave it to me. I was going to learn it, but there was something put me off, and I'll tell you what put me off. She put it to a very hackneyed air. You know the melody, the Cushy Butterfield one that good Mr. Brennan's bread uses, you know. Da da dum die diddly dum dum diddly dum 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 die diddly dum diddly da da dum diddly dum dum die do. And I thought it didn't suit us, so I changed the melody. And I thought whenever we were going to record it with Skylark, the group I was in, that I better ring Peggy up and sing it down the phone to her. So she gave me the blessing anyway, so here goes anyway. Peggy Seeger's Come Fill Up Your Glasses. That she wrote this whenever the Cuban crisis was happening and John F. Kennedy was in the White House at the time. I think it was Khrushchev was over in the Kremlin. Come fill up your glasses with whiskey and beer. Here's to your health and lots of good cheer. To our sisters and brothers, and may they live long. Come fill up your glasses and join in this song. A toast to the farmers who work on the land, who live where their work is, aye, and toil while they can. To the teachers, the carpenters, the nurses and engineers, may your labours be valued over the years. To the artists and the writers, let us now drink a health. To the people whose hopes and whose joys are our wealth, whose tools are bond canvas and paper and pen, our harvest is the beauty and the vision of them. Let the men drink a health to their sweethearts and wives, and the women being willing will greet them likewise. May your pleasures be many and your troubles be few. May you treasure the day you made one out of two. Let us drink to our children, and let us prepare a world where they'll live free from sorrow and care, a world where goodwill amongst men is the law, a world without fear and a world without war. Well, I mentioned Joe there, and another of Joe's songs I'm going to sing now to finish off this first wee bit. And Joe was a member of the Antrim and Derry Fiddlers Association, as I was myself, although I didn't play the fiddle, but I did plenty of fiddling in my time. But anyway, that's another story. And Antrim Derry Fiddlers were formed in 1953, and I wasn't there at the initial one, but I was brought along to some of the early ones, probably late 50s by the time I started going. So by the early 1960s, I was starting to be called up for a song. And that's when I first met Joe, 1963. I was called up to sing one of my grandmother's songs. And Joe came up and asked me for the words of it. And I got his address, and some days later I called round with him. And that was the beginning of a long friendship that lasted up until 1978 when he passed away. But another great character who was a member of the Antrim and Derry Fiddlers was the Keen of the Glens, Mickey McElhatton. And Mickey was a great friend of ours, of my family's, and also of Joe's as well. And we used to ceilidh with him. And this song was actually Mickey's favourite song. He was always asking for this wee song, one of Joe's. Oh, I am a rambling Irishman, from town to town I steer, and like any other young man I like me pint of beer, and like any other young man I like me whiskey clear. You think I was some lord or duke of the son of a gambolier. Now this old coat that I wear, it got in the pond store, aye, and when it does get wet, I hang it on the floor. And when that it dries again, likewise I put it on. You think I was some lord or duke and the son of an honest man. Now take a glance at these old pants, they're baggy at the knees. They're worn so thin I feel the wind go through me extremities. When I was young and handsome, all the people did agree. But now the girls look down their nose, I'm a relic of poverty. Yes, I am a rambling Irishman, from town to town I steer. And like any other young man, I like me pint of beer. And like any other young man, I like me whiskey clear. You think I was some lord or duke or the son of a gambler. Now I'll take a glance at this old hat. I paid 2 pence, I swear, on a Sunday when I put it on, all the people at me stare. On a Sunday when I put it on, I cut it rather grand. You think I was some lord or duke or the son of an honest man. Oh yes, I am a rambling Irishman, from town to town I steer. And like any other young man, I like me pint of beer. And like any other young man, I like me whiskey clear. You think I was some lord or duke or the son of a gambler. Now these old shoes that I wore, they came from the Crimea War. I got them off an old soldier who died of wounds and scars. My soul from the uppers parted and me heels looked back to sea. Me 2 big toes stare me in the face, they're a relic of poverty. Yes, I am a rambling Irishman, from town to town I steer. And like any other young man, I like me pint of beer. And like any other young man, I like me whiskey clear. You think I was some lord or duke or the son of a gambler. Now if I had a keg of rum and sugar 50 pound, and a great big tub to put it in, and a stick to rumble it round, I'd call for liquor of the best, good health and good cheer. And the relic of pioneer. Yes, I am a rambling Irishman, town to town I steer. And like any other young man, I like me pint of beer. And like any other young man, I like me whiskey clear. You think I was some lord or duke, the son of a gambler.
Yeah, Len Graham never disappoints. Thanks a million, Len, for that. Great stuff altogether. So I'm going to call 3 more singers before the break. I'm going to call Jerry O'Reilly. So just say we were talking about young men on that last song, Len. I'm going to call Jerry O'Reilly first. I'm going to call Anne Buckley after that. And then just to round us off, MacDarry Yates. So thanks very much.
We paid in hell since Moscow's born, as Cossacks tear us piece by piece. Our dead lie slain 100 leagues, though death would be a sweet release. And our Grand Armée is dressed in rags, a starving, frozen beggar band. Like rats we steal each other's scraps and fall to fighting hand to hand. Save my soul from evil, Lord, and heal the soldier's heart. I'll trust in thee to keep me, Lord. I'm done with Bonaparte. What dreams he made for us to dream, Spanish skies, Egyptian sands. The world was ours, we marched upon our little corporal's command. And I lost an eye at Austerlitz, the sabre slash yet gives me pain. But my one true love awaits me still, the flower of the Aquitaine. Save my soul from evil, Lord, and heal the soldier's heart. I'll trust in thee to keep me, Lord. I'm done with Bonaparte. And I pray for her who prays for me, and a safe return to my belle France. We prayed these wars would end all wars. In war we know is no romance. And I pray our child will never see a little corporal again. Point towards a foreign shore and captivate the hearts of men. Save my soul from evil, Lord, and heal the soldier's heart. I'll trust in thee to keep me, Lord. I'm done with Bonaparte. Words by Mark Knopfler.
Come and listen to me story. It's about a nice young man. When the militia wasn't wanting, he dealt in hawk and twang. Well, he loved a lovely maiden, as fair as any midge. She kept a treacle billy depot, one side of the Carlisle Bridge. Well, another one came courting her. His name was Mickey Baggs. He was a commercial traveller. He dealt in bones and rags. Well, he took her out to Sandy Mount to see the waters roll. And he stole the heart of the twangman's mutt, playing Billy in the bowl. Now when the twangman heard of this, he flew into a terrible rage, and he swore by the contents of his twang cart, on him he would revenge. So he lay in wait near St. James's Gate, till poor old Baggs come up, and with his twang knife he took the life of the poor owl, gather him up. Well, now yous have heard me story, and I hope yes'll be good men, and not go chasing the twangman's mutt, or any other owl hen, for they leave you without a brass farthing, not even your old sack of rags, and they'll leave you in the gutter there, just like poor old Mickey Baggs.
Our captain cried, all hands, bound for tomorrow. I'm bound to leave you, dear, in grief and sorrow. Dry up those briny tears, and wish your weeping. How happy we will be at our next meeting. Why would you go away, fighting for strangers? Why don't you stay at home, free from all dangers? I'll roll you in my arms, my dearest jewel. So stay at home with me and don't be cruel. When you first passed my door, you used to invite me, but now I'm low and poor, and you seem to slight me. You courted me a while just to deceive me, and now my heart you've won. You're going to leave me. Farewell to all my friends, father and mother. Weep not for me, though you have no other. Weep not for me, for I am going to everlasting peace, with fountains flowing.
It's an old English ballad, but that's a funny version.
So we're going to have a break for about 10 minutes or so, and just anyone who did happen to miss the box, Mick Keeley is standing there, and it's the princely sum of €3 each. So we'll be back in about 10 minutes. Thanks very much. Great stuff. So here we are back again. We would love to sort of extend the break a bit and chat, but we have people all over the world tuned in, looking at us and wanting to hear us. So we should get going as quickly as we can. Great. So three more singers lined up. We have to look at my list. Yes. Marnie Cronin, Pádraig O'Looney, and Brenda O'Deardawn. Just to mention that there's a special showing of Dark Horse on the Wind, and if anyone hasn't seen it, you should make your way to it and make a point of seeing it. That's in Collins Barracks on the 20th, is it? At 12:30 in the Spiegel tent, is it? Spiegel tent, Bio. I couldn't work out what the third word is. Spiegel tent, Bio, live. Okay, so Marnie Cronin to start. Thank you.
No Irish feiner mightn't go moch Eva the max forward Keki and who max storm of free is there she fan go fountain Maar de wishy shoot as Dargestan is lekken maar nerosi nor dashke si god lulem cree Shedurchi come me into it honey As I rode out to view the plains one summer's morning early Who should I spy but a pretty fair maid, and she dressed up so neatly. Her cherry cheeks and ruby lips, her eyes would dazzle the daisies. When I took this fair maid by the hand, she said, "Young man, go easy. Mar is trout or mishe gefont me heert, mar is mahastigum horsing, is mopar grieve the rouse of fame, gan me vetain aljontem. Maar de winning fair in the achter knik, de jenning kruik nu staking, de rinking reel and the storm of ree, ruch na kaidige banem. For I am a plough by the seed for to sow, and that without much labour I plough. For I am a plough by the seed for to sow, and that without much labour. 'Tis many's the field that I did plough, and that without much labour. For I'd plough and sow, both reap and mow, and I'd gather it into your garden. I'd sweep the floor and I'd dance with you on the banks of Cardigabainem. The lying falling glitcheroig, Mujamach auch led kiroige, Amach is a gum, Gome halum, Gone thou to fend the barlum. O glasig Susa, O girlen, is gluishlum hen her sole, is trawa mead na quando dine, ruch na cardigabainem. I would spread my mantle for you, young man, if 'twas only the breadth of a farthing. If I thought your mind was as good as your word, of course 'tis you I'd rather. Awake, arise, my laboring boy, and come with me in the morning, and we will plough the briny waves on the banks of Cardigabainem.
It was on the Whitsun Wednesday, the 14th day of May, that we untied our anchor, and so did sail away, where the sun does shine most glorious, to Lisbon we were bound, where the hills and fields are dainty with pretty maidens round. I wrote a letter to Nancy for she to understand that I was bound to leave her for some foreign land. She said, my dearest William, those words would break my heart, so let us married be tonight before that you do start. For 10 long weeks and better, love, I've been with child by thee. So stay at home, sweet William, be kind and marry me. Our captain has commanded us, and I shall have to go, for the king's in want of men, my love, I dare not answer no. I'll cut off all my yellow hair, men's clothing I'll put on, and I will go along with you to be your waiting man. And when it is your watch on deck, your duty I will do. I would face the field of battle, love, all for to be with you. If I should meet a pretty fair maid that's proper, tall and gay, if I should take a fancy to her, Nancy, what would you say? Would you not be offended? Oh, no, my lover true, I would stand aside, sweet William, while she must pleasure you. Your pretty little fingers, they are so long and small, and your waist, it is too slender, love, to face the cannonball. For the cannons loud do rattle, and the blazing bullets fly, and the silver trumpets sound, my love, to drown the dismal cry. Pray do not talk of danger when, love, it's my desire to be with you in battle, and with you spend my time. And I will travel through France and Spain, all for to be your bride, and in the field of battle, love, I'll stretch down by your side.
Dalquig an affren am le talnen rothe, fi an locker bosch si is dar de cui, Cassu an anarlam, Tave Kiltorton, is hit me Lorak, im grolem fni. The laur me lee, gomu into monla, is the rare a coljacht, the ragger she. She doerchi, raftri, Tomminton sauce, is glushka lolam, gabalyaili. She morni ayen an toid van vesak, by yeshamain agus polyagni. Ga Kate Cleric is a girl a kale, is trihan a treha, nieta hoxkuri. The fool she deirdre, la practice famous, is the nabring halen, les grisu a tree. Ox gob an eren, a sock the veitchen, an posig egal, Tamalyili. You'll may susness an rank le kele, an spine an greg is a rash reist. Overok la kleine, gabel la cave, niakum me sperin Marie. Stop, Bruno. I'll start the first again. You'll may susness an rank le kele, an spine an greg is a rash reist. Overok la kleine, gabel la cave, niakum me sperin Marie. Da meintje poste le blane hoige, tri lokatorak de jouringi. Kunte is koste, de huling is bore, en ni kan tog van et tamalja ili. Sinead.
Okay, the next three singers, if I can, yes, I found my list. Andrew Baskey is going to sing the next song, then Emma Farrell is going to sing, and then we're going to ask Dylan Pierce to sing. Okay, thanks.
Who is that nameless man with the wooden leg? Who is that nameless man with the wooden leg? Who is that nameless man with the wooden leg? Cahan Farle Cosmaja. Mathers was worth a pack of potato meal. Mathers was worth a pack of potato meal. Mathers was worth a pack of potato meal. Packashta mean procha. A smash of a spade and that was the end of him. Smash of a spade and that was the end of him. A smash of a spade and that was the end of him. Is bula hianara roher. Is it about a bicycle, is it? Is it about a bicycle, is it? Is it about a bicycle, is it? And fui roher atoshe. Who'll ever know what's in that box at all? Who'll ever know what's in that box at all? Who'll ever know what's in that box at all? Codtosh Diggins on Vuska. A voice from inside for convenience and called him Joe. A voice from inside for convenience, he called him Joe. A voice from inside for convenience, he called him Joe. Joseph Abanam Anima. Is it about a bicycle, is it? Is it about a bicycle, is it? Is it about a bicycle, is it? And fui roher atoshe. Did you ever hear tell of the atomic theory? Ever hear tell of the atomic theory? Ever hear tell of the atomic theory? Cade teoric adama. Particles lively as leprechauns doing a jig. Particles lively as leprechauns doing a jig. Particles lively as leprechauns doing a jig. Egg douse like Toma. Is it about a bicycle? Is it? Is it about a bicycle? Is it? Is it about a bicycle? Is it? And fui roher atoshe. Would you believe he's half man and half bicycle? Would you believe he's half man and half bicycle? Would you believe he's half man and half bicycle? Is la roher He made his escape on the loveliest saddle. He made his escape on the loveliest saddle. Oh, he made his escape on the loveliest saddle. Sus eran tianra sola. Sus eran dialete sola. Flann O'Brien, third principal.
Kate Slán go letter mullen, Quigglis curragri. Kate Slán le pully wearin, Morrison a vacon spree. Be suan gran orna go farshing on, Knock millishame or vrain. Smugrahu a porrig Bradley, or buffalo who da range. No the dog a mission volye, nor vrona game o cree. Bishini lar on Aries, Dini banch on Ammonbui. Near sween away on balja, tila nor tro. Sme wadon balja, son gladaknamin movod. Dan a fe blin shen catches, sme sween on hum. Midlana share hardangan, torch wire on mod bon. Near sween o hermo, yada booked, a dog may tyranny. Is minnick me hen a capug, or me a garul in a heel. Sme sween o erna bodori, ik shak god lash na nu. Ik fannak der an tija, godogadi shan mon. Ik sholo makak majaniger, surmas tila tra. Torch I ar cave kilronan, no sergo condian clor. Is the flash a tarn an animanish, tivala genaniv. Mother Slaviux fluacan a kashid sal dun seal. Is Garvinson Nunavina dini cren. Gorle creer on orige bodori cheerny. Make sween aware on chucking shoed and a come saldun seal. Na walk the sin poor jate also huimo wami nil. Ta queen o kernuf winuga, sposhtuk trijan jean. Is me London Hassaner on trampy golders green. Mo jimo erna clubana, erna pubana aus ermro. I the dog mo folky full of his curly hanim mo grui. O Camden town go Hammersmith, hard Chimple Edgware road. She the dog, cush na molly me gan varialim of road. Kate Slán go letter mullen, Quigglis curragwi. Kate Slán le fully wearin, Morrison a vacon spree. Be suan gran orna go farshing on, nor villishame or vrain. Is McGrahu, a forig Bradley marba, flahul who da range.
This is a Bobby Sands poem I put to music. It's the first time I've sang it, so we'll see how it goes. It's called Comrades in the Dark. Sorry, I probably should have started with that. There came a splendid golden sun across the darkened sky. It woke the bondsman from his dream as it fell upon his eyes. It lit the ways of freedom's paths, sent forth a singing lark, and bore a weeping blossom upon these flowers in the dark. These flowers grew by Lane Anton in freedom's fragrant scent, bringing heart to weary folk when dark days came and went. And they grew strong and beautiful midst fortunes cold and stark. The fairest flowers of their kind, these roses in the dark. The winds of war came creeping cruel, the flower did not cry. And how it broke the free man's heart to see the first rose die. Some soldier plucked the garden's joy and left a burning mark upon the silver-petaled bloom, now fettered in the dark. I care not should we free men die to see the garden flower, and humble bluebells raise their heads to rise in all their power. I hold a tear-torn, soaring heart, oh, just like Joan of Arc. Each one of these saintly flowers is dungeoned in the dark. These flowers weep in dank cold cells, no sun to light the gloom, and suffer nature's vilest scorn to wither in their bloom. But ne'er they yield these lovely things, oh, hear they freedom's mark. They are the light to guide the poor, these flowers in the dark. Glad I had that whiskey.
Three more singers, Nelly Radlin, and then Jack Lynch will do something for us, Jack. And then the man standing in the corner there, shyly, Tiernan Smith, is going to do something for us as well. Thanks very much.
We're going to give this song.
When first I came to Dublin town, some pleasure there to find. A damsel there from Galway grew pleasant to my mind. Her rosy cheeks, her sparkling eyes, like a rose pierced my breast. The name she bore was Flora, the lily of the West. I courted lovely Flora, some pleasure there to find. But she spurred me for another man that so distressed my mind. She robbed me of all liberty and deprived me from all rest. Ah, go now, faithless Flora, the lily of the West. Down in yonder green valley, my Flora I did see, conversing with another man, a man of high degree. The answer that she gave to him did my mind so oppress. Ah, go now, faithless Flora, the lily of the west. I stepped up to my rival, my dagger in my hand. I clutched him by the collar, and I boldly bade him stand. Being led to desperation, my dagger pierced his breast. For the love of Flora, the lily of the west, I had to stand my trial. I had to make my plea. They put me in the criminal dock, and they there commenced on me. Although she swore my life away and deprived me from all rest, I still love faithless Flora, the lily of the west. Sinead.
Okay. Well, they mentioned the Flat Lake Festival there that we were at a few years, and it was a mad mix of things. And I can remember things like Sam Shepard, the great playwright, the late Sam Shepard, and Brendan Boyer, and the Royal. The Green X. Brendan Boyer and the Green X. And, Stephen Ray and Edna O'Brien sitting on bales of hay. But Len wanted me to mention something he forgot to mention. There was a very famous raffle every year, and one year it was an auction, and the prizes included, it was a Damien Hirst painting, and that was auctioned off to raise money for something or other. Then there was Shane McGowan's smoking jacket, and you could win that if you could guess all the different stains on it. Another auction item was a litre whiskey bottle full of an amber liquid that used to belong to Shane McGowan. And that actually went for £60, a bottle of piss for £60. And also Lily Allen's thong. Len said, why would you be wanting to auction off an eye patch? You know, he just didn't go with that. I remember Seamus Cray one time, he was doing a set of tunes, and one of the ones he mentioned was the Tongs by the Fire. And he said, now that's Tongs with no H. But anyway, I have a tiny little story for you. I've been watching the reruns of Seamus Leach, those great T.G. Gallagher television programmes, and they're all on the Player and that. And last week there was one, Gaby McArdle, on that. And we got a few of the contributors talking about Mick Hoy, the Fermanagh fiddle player and singer and storyteller. And there's a few photographs of Mick Hoy. So here's a Mick Hoy story. I remember telling this at a European festival one time, and it's gone into the repertoire of a lot of German storytellers and that, because it's got, you know, the great triad, the great thing from the folk tales and all of that. And I got this from a book. It's my favourite book on Irish traditional music. I'm sure a lot of you know it. Last Night's Fun by Kieran Carson. Really insightful and great crack. And Len, of course, features not by name in it, you know. But So Mick Hoy told this story. There was a fresh show one time, and there was a big competition for fiddle players, and there were 3 fiddle players going to be vying for the big prize. And this, I suppose this story is about the dilemma of being a kiggerer, an adjudicator at a feis. So there's 3 fiddle players ready, and in front of the stage at their table, the 3 adjudicators, and they're sitting there, they've got their copybooks open, and they've got their Conway Parker pens all poised over the page to mark these fiddle players. Well, the first fiddle player comes on stage, and my goodness, the size of this man, tall, elegant, wearing a dress suit, a fine tailored suit with a white dicky bow and a matching white bib. Oh, goodness me. And as Eamon Kelly might say, he had a crease in his trousers that would shave a gooseberry. What a man! And the fiddle case was made of crocodile leather. And he set it down on a side table, and he opened it up, and he picked out the fiddle, and what was it? Only a Stradivarius. Well, we were the same. We were agog when he took that fiddle, and he put his chin down on the chin rest. He rested his chin on the chin rest. He took the bow, he closed his eyes, and he began to play. And by God, he was desperate altogether. Shocking out. Well, the second fiddle player gets up, and he was very well turned out too. He had a nice Burton tailored suit, and he had a dicky bow and a matching hanky in the top pocket there, and socks with clocks on them, and a fiddle case that wasn't a bad one at all. It was probably stained mahogany, and he set it down, opened up, took out the fiddle, and a fine looking fiddle it was too. Well, he put it up under his chin, and he dropped the bow on it, and he began to play, and the jeepers, he was just desperate altogether. Oh, people were driven mad to listen to him. Well, the third man gets up, and God loved this poor devil. The state of him altogether, bare elbows sticking out through holes in the sleeves of his cardigan, the trousers held up by a cord, and maybe there were crocodile leather shoes, I don't know, but when he lifted his foot like that, the sole and the uppers were snapping away like that. Now, this fiddle case this poor man had, I'd say at one stage it was made out of the finest of cardboard. But now it was battered and all that, and it was tied around with bale and twine and bits of owl wire, and he managed to struggle to get it open, and doesn't he take out the fiddle, and my God, the fiddle, the sight of that fiddle, sure there were more strings on the fiddle than there were on the bow. But he rested that fiddle under his chin, and he took that bow and he dropped it gently on the fiddle, and he began to play. And by God, he was desperate as well. He was, just desperate. Now, I was reminded by Len of another thing. We did a tour with Theo Dorgan, Rhyme, Rant and Ran, 10 years ago as it turned out, an Arts Council tour, and we're coming back for one night only, and it's in the Mermaid Theatre in Bray, songs, stories and poems from Theo, and it's on the 18th, next Friday, the day after Paddy's Day, out in the Mermaid in Bray, 8 o'clock. If you're out in that part of the world, it'd be great to see you there. So, Mermaid, 19th, 18th, just testing you there, and thanks again.
Wow.
Yeah. I know, yeah, that's me. Last night as I lay slumbering in my silent bed alone, some rakish thoughts came to my mind, which caused me for to roam, for to leave my native country, and the wee girl that I adore. So I thought it fit to take a trip, strange lands for to explore. Well, the night before we went away, I was walking over Brocka Hill, when I met my darling upon the road, and her eyes with tears did fill. Stayed you at home, dear John, she said, and do not go away, for I'll have none to comfort me when you are on the sea. So I took her by the lily white hand, and I held her hard and fast, saying adieu to you, my darling, for our ship it lies in Belfast. But if you prove loyal, sure I'll prove true, for you know that I'm well inclined. Well, we shook hands and kissed and parted, and I left my wee girl behind. Well, when we landed in Greenock shore, the people all gathered around. They said I was a rakish lad, come to cut the harvest down. They told me to return again and never more be seen. So without delay I sailed straight away for Erin's lovely green. When Mary heard her John was home, her heart did it beat with joy, saying, come into my arms, love, you're my darling only boy. Saying, come into my arms, love, for it's you I have longed for so long. And let them all say as they will, our wedding it will go on. Well, Brockabraes is a nice wee place, wherein lives nice wee girls. You'd swear they were the nightingales as they sat down to sing, where the salmon trout all sport about round Loch Ness verdant shore. But let them all say as they will, you are mine forevermore. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to call Len Graham back now, so for another little turn of some songs.
Now, save yous all and welcome home. And this moment I'm after landing, and Larry Morgan is quite proud to be safe and sound and standing. One time in the County Armagh, I was a great freeholder. I and Nancy Morgan was me wife with a posy off a scolder, with me ring-a-ma-doo-a-day, with me ring-a-ma-doo-a-daddy-o. I was chopping down an ash one day, when I heard a roar like a donkey, when I found myself surrounded by two Brazilian monkeys, with a ring-a-ma-doo-a-day, with a ring-a-ma-doo-a-daddy-o. Now I fought with them and they pulled me hair. Then I swam up the river, and be diving I got shot of them. Be dad had done them over. Scarce unto the bank I gone, and glad to quit the craters, when I found myself there cheek be jowl with a murdering alligator, with a ring-a-ma-doo-a-day, with a ring-a-ma-doo-a-daddy-o. Well, I ran like hell and he couldn't do that, and I climbed a great high oakum, and like patience on the monument, sure I sat till daylight broken. Now I couldn't stand the hunger long, so at daylight I departed, and I swam the river back again, and to me cabin I started, with a ring-a-ma-doo-a-day, with a ring-a-ma-doo-a-daddy-o. On scarce unto the door I got, and what did I meet there, sir? But a serpent 59 yards long, playing leapfrog with a bear, sir. Says I'll not be paying rent for your accommodation. I think I'll work me passage home, for I've studied navigation, with a ring-a-ma-doo-a-day, with a ring-a-ma-doo-a-daddy-o. So now, me boys, take my advice, to a foreign country don't go. It's far better to die with the devil you know than to die with the devil you don't know, with a ring-a-ma-doo-a-day, with a ring-a-ma-doo-a-daddy-o. Well, I had to sing a County Armagh song tonight because I've been living there nearly 40 years. You have to be living there about 6 generations before you're a native. So I'm working on it, Anyway, John Campbell learnt that from Master Herity in St Mary's Boys National School or Primary School way back, probably the early 40s. He was born in 1933, so he was at primary school at the time anyway. And himself and Micheál was on there earlier, his father, of course. I had the privilege of meeting 3 gentlemen. I was on tour with Joe Holmes, Maggie Barry, and Joe Burke way back in it was either 1969, 1970, I think it might have been. 50 years ago, believe it or not. And Maggie Barry introduced me to Michael Quinn and his father, Micheál's grandfather, John Ned, and John Campbell, those 3 gentlemen, way back. And that was in the Rangers Hall. Now, that's not the Glasgow Rangers. That's the name of the GAA club in Crossmaglen. And that's where I was that night, along with those boys. And that was the beginning of a wonderful friendship, which unfortunately came to an end. Now, Micheál's father, Mick, and Jerry O'Hanlon, and Jim and Patricia Flynn started the Strayleaf Club, which ran for many years, and also the Forkhill or the Ringagullion Singing Weekend, which ran for nearly 20 years. It was actually whenever John died in 2006, that was the end of the Singing Weekend, but it ran for nearly 20 years. But the first of those singing weekends, or festivals as such, rather than flas, these were festivals just for singing, was held in Drogheda in 1976. And I was speaking on the phone to an old friend there. He's in his 90s now, and he's in a home in Coleraine, Jackie Devaney. Many in the company here remember Jackie very well. And we were talking about old times. And Jackie always drove a good car, and his passengers for the first 1976 gathering in Drogheda, he had in the front seat, he had beside him, he was driving, Eddie Butcher. In the back seat, he had Gracie Butcher, Joe Holmes, and myself. And we landed into the O'Rahilly Gaelic Athletic Club in Drogheda. And Sean Cochran died there not so long ago. Sean Cochran was one of the organisers, and he was very anxious to get us a drink. So we're up at the bar, having a drink, and a big bus drove into the car park. And out of that bus came in the Wexford mummers, and they were all wearing big mitres on their heads, and they had swords in their hands, and they came into the hall dancing. And up on the bar was a man called Paddy Turrell from Dundalk, And Paddy Turrell looks around and he says, Jesus Cochran, he says to Sean Cochran. Jesus Cochran, he says, in a Dundalk accent, of course. He says, I thought this was a folk festival, not the bloody well Eucharistic Congress. So that weekend we heard singers we'd never heard before, wonderful singers, and it was they were from all over Ireland, with people like Darragh O'Cahan, Josie Shan Jack from Connemara, Nicholas Tobin, the singer from Anrin down in Waterford, all over Ireland. They were at that gathering anyway. But the local singers were the ones that really took us, because we'd never met them before. People like Mary Ann Carlin and her brother, Pa Usher, and all sorts of singers from Dundalk and from all this County Louth area. It was brilliant. Anyway, I'm going to sing one of those songs that I heard for the first time at that particular festival that Mary Ann Carlin sang. My name is Bold Dougherty from the North Country, where there's a still upon every stream. Landlady, be quicker and bring us more liquor, and fill us a pitcher that's stronger than cream. If I had you, Molly, both pleasant and jolly, oh, it's a pleasure to ask you at all. I would fill a bottle and I to the bottom, I would drink to you, Molly, beside Donegal with me fall-da-dal-dal, fall-da-dal-landity, fall-da-dal-landity, fall-dal-da-day. I had a new pair of clogs I brought home from the market, I needed an excuse to go into the town. I told me old mother the seams they were rimped, and I needed some nails for to rivet them round. She covered my hand with a bright British shilling. She said in the end that it would be her own, saying if you go to the town by a full naggin, be sure to bring none of your fancifuls home with me. Fall-da-dal-dal, fall-da-dal-landity, fall-da-dal-landity, fall-da-day. On crossing the hill up me bolt in a skillin, went into an alehouse for to take a dram, when I saw two tinkers dividing a saucepan, although they were arguing about a tin can. When one of them then made a blow at the other, he said, me bold villain, I will take your life, for your saucepans are leaking and won't hold the water, since ever Bold Dougherty spoke to your wife. With me fall-da-dal-dal, fall-da-dal-landity, fall-da-dal-landity, fall-da-day. Now when I got home, sure the door it was bolted, I ramped up me mother for to let me in. Says I, me old mother, I'll take it on his own, I'll not let you in. You may go away to wherever you came from, for to keep you out I am sure it's no sin. Says I, me old woman, you may keep your temper, for I will find lodgings with Nora McGlynn. With me fall-da-dal-dal, fall-da-dal-landity, fall-da-dal-landity, fall-da-day. Well, there's so many people that I would like to mention, but I don't, because there's so many memories. Eddie Butcher has to get a mention anyway, and I'll sing one of Eddie's songs. You'll be very familiar with the version that the Plankstee recorded that came from Colm O'Cadden from Connemara. The P stands for Paddy, but this is Eddie's version, The False Young Man. About to take a drop. What about a frog tonight? the one, that's the one. If only, if only, if only. As I rode out on a May morning for to have a pleasant walk, I sat me down on the green, green grass for to hear two lovers talk. To hear two lovers talk, my dear, and to hear what they would say, that they might know a little more of my mind before I would go away. Oh, sit you down on the green, green grass, and I'll sit close by you. I can't sit down, or I won't sit down, not now nor any other time. For once your heart was mine, my dear, and your hand lay on my breast, and you made me believe with your false flattering tongue that the sun rose in the west. I'll not believe what a young man says, an old man says, for his days will not be long. And I'll not believe what a young man says, for he's promised to many's the one. Yes, he's promised to many's the one, she said. Aye, and many's the lie he'll tell, but I don't care what anybody says, for he's the false young man. I will climb a high, high tree, and I'll roam the wild bird's nest, aye, and I'll come down without a frown to the one and I love best. T stands for Tom, my dear, J for my love, John, W stands for Sweet William, for he's the false young man. He is the false young man, she said. He is the false young man, but I don't care what anybody says, for he's the fairest one. Okay. Now, I better sing one of Joe's bigger songs. And I never met Joe's mother. She died in the 1950s. I didn't meet Joe until the early 60s. But by all accounts, not just from Joe, but from people that I was talking to around that area, Killyrammer, I'd say Ballymoney, they said she was a great singer. And it was a Keeley house. All sorts of people called in on their way to different events. And this particular song, the only other version of it I came across was, funny enough, was in Newfoundland. Kenneth Peacock collected a version of it in the 1930s. But it appears in the Sam Henry Songs of the People collection. And actually the singer that Sam Henry collected it off, he was singing on the street in Dervock in County Antrim way back in the 1930s. But he used to call in, he used to play for pence on the street. He played the fiddle and sang. A man called John McAfee. And Joe and his mother got the song off John. He used to call in Killian with them on his way to Ballymoney, maybe for the fair day in Ballymoney, and then he lived in Aramoy, and he'd go to Ballycastle. Anywhere there was a fair day or a market or a football match, anywhere there's a crowd, he'd be playing for pence on the street. This is the song he sang away, sort of an anti-war song. My parents reared me tenderly, I been their only son. Little didn't they think I wouldn't follow the fife and drum. They brought me up in the fear of God, kept me in proper style. For I was born till I was fly, and I wish the war was o'er. To finish my education, they sent me to school a while. Aye, and by their hard industry kept me in proper style. But the answer the colonel gave to me, it oft times makes me cry, that I was bound to serve the king till all the wars were by. Oh, once I thought I ne'er would be in this dejected state, a poor forlorn soldier exposed to hardships great. The bird that flutters on each branch with terror strikes my heart. Each star I see alarms me, from war I must depart. I'll take my sunken bounty, perhaps will be for life, and I'll cross the briny ocean, and the gun will be my wife. Aye, and I'll fill up a flowing glass, and I'll toss it o'er and o'er. Fair maid, don't mourn, for I'll return when the cruel war is o'er.
Thanks very much, Len. Absolutely fantastic stuff. We'll just try and get as many singers in as we can. Micheál McDonagh will sing the first song. Aoife Dermody will just sing the second song. And Mick King, where are you going, Mick? He will anyway. Oh, he's at the bar. Okay. So it's Micheál McDonagh, Aoife Dermody and Mick King. Thank you very much.
Ganske gansos gant fora, tan I he garet hauri gaun, is be merense shul. Mar by mi dryer care conte, kjoliv nish balti mora, sari nach roya sonuenit, in idan we don't down. Time shall on the noire free baka partan yarne. Maris buchel bakta correct me is to make when go drown. Ni bio me mean alright. Marabai me pog is growit. Agus fáilte chuinát carde in an we don't know. Da ha mein shlabra grene im hiervin an sleimwe. Mar a melchan on St. Clair shock exanem mosarjon. Is just a screeving verse, snidashen am maraloring, star of the volla feini, in an we don't know. Tonight.
My lonely soul meanders lost around the black black pits, oh, vainly hoping for to glance into your dark eyes, oh. But if these eyes did cross with yours, my heart will be fragmented. This pallid hope entwined with fear, it drives me queer, demented, oh. It drives me queer, it drives me queer, demented. In desperation, feigning stray or leisurely pursuit, I squint through foggy windows for a fleeting glimpse of you, a faint and fallow hope that when your face appears to me, the underwhelm will float me and will set my poor heart free. Will set my heart, will set my poor heart free. Yet in this darkened chamber, dank and cavernous roams here a ghost unwelcome, uninvited, lingering for years. No sage nor solemn prayer can carve a crack for air or light. This empty chamber rattles hollow almost every night. It rattles hollow almost every night. And what would I do if our paths crossed in the black pits, oh? I'd rather hide than have you heed my void, oh. Condemned forever and a day to walk these streets alone. I flourish well, a trusted rod to beat my own backbone, to beat my own backbone.
Tim Finnegan lived in Walking Street, a gentleman Irish might I add. He had a brogue boat Twitching Street, and to rise in the world he carried a had. But Tim had a bit of a tippler's way, for the love of the liquor he was born, and to send him on his way each day, the drop of the crater every morn. Whack for the do, will you dance your partner round the floor with your trotters shake? Isn't it the truth? I tell you, lots of fun at Finnegan's wake. Oh, one morning Tim was rather full, and his head felt heavy and it made him shake. Well, he fell off the ladder and he broke his skull, and they carried him home his corpse to wake. Oh, they wrapped him up in a nice clean sheet, and they laid him out upon the bed, with a bottle of whiskey at his feet and a barrel of porter at his head. Whack for the do, will you dance your partner round the floor with your trotters shake? Isn't it the truth? I tell you, lots of fun at Finnegan's wake. Well, his friends assembled at the wake, and Mrs. Finnegan called for lunch. Well, first she brought them tea and cake, then pipes, tobacco and brandy punch. Oh, the women alone began to cry, such a lovely corpse did you ever see? Or said Timothyna, why did you die? When you held your gob, said Molly McGee. Whack for the do, will you dance your partner round the floor with your trotters shake? Isn't it the truth? I tell you, lots of fun at Finnegan's wake. Oh, when Mary Murphy took up the job, Biddy says she a rug, I'm sure. Well, Biddy fetched her a belt and a gob and left her sprawling on the floor. Well, a civil war did then engage 'Twas woman and man to man. Shillelagh was all the rage, and a row and a ruction it soon began. What would I do? Will you dance your partner round the floor with your totters shake? Isn't it the truth? I tell you, lots of fun at Finnegan's Wake. Oh, well, Tim Maloney took his head when a bottle of whiskey flew at him. He ducked and landed on the bed. The whiskey scatters all over Tim. Oh, be daddy revising, see he rises. Tim Finnegan rising in the bed. Saying, twiddling your whiskey around like blazes, a thundering deal, do you think I'm dead? What would I do? Will you dance your partner round the floor with your totters shake? Isn't it the truth? I tell you, lots of fun at Finnegan's Wake. How would your old one? Game ball!
Okay, so the next three singers are Martin Drew, Julian Vignole and Larry O'Toole.
Well, 'twas on a sultry summer's day, when tired from working at the hay, I lay and watched the regiment marching by to foreign wars. And I don't know how it came about, well, I must have slept without a doubt. I dreamt I took the shilling that day in Mullingar. Well, Sergeant Gra McCree, if you would swap again with me, for my old hat and overcoat, they're warmer by far. And besides, me heart would surely break if friends and neighbours I forsake, and wear the Highland petticoat going into Mullingar. Well, the sergeant spoke sharp with me, you might as well contented be. You gone and took the shilling down in Mary Ann Egan's bar. And as for those you leave behind, well, you might as well make up your mind. Well, you gone and took the shilling that stay in Mullingar. Well, it's then I wept in grief and pain, but all me protests were in vain. We marched through Monaster Evan with the general in the car. And when we came to Wexford town, straight for a transport we went down. And we sailed away to India, farewell to Mullingar. Well, the heat was heavy overhead. We fought till nearly all were dead, from Sudiek Lake to Khyber Hill and down to Kandahar. And those Indians are a sturdy lot. Well, they gave it to us hard and hot. And I lost me legs by cannon shot, and I cried for Mullingar. Well, it's on the bloody ground I lay, in deep despair I could not pray. I cursed the day I listed, and me joy in life did mar. When someone near me gave a shout, well, I sat right up and looked about. Thank God it was only dreaming, and I was still in Mullingar. Well, I gazed around me with delight, and I felt me two fine legs all right. I kissed the sod I lay upon, and I thanked my lucky stars. And I swore no soldiering would I try, unless for Ireland's cause to die. King George can stick a shilling up, I'm content in Mullingar.
My thoughts and fancies take their flight to days when but a boy, when carelessly I rambled from my beloved Mountjoy. I have seen great lands and mansions grand, and cities fair and gay, but no finer spot than a fisher's cot on the banks of sweet Loch Nay. God bless you, Derry Loughin, King's Island and Clono. Likewise sweet Killacolpy, Clontow and Old Arboe. It was God that planned that enchanted strand from Tuam to Washing Bay, but he ne'er forgot a fisher's cot on the banks of sweet Loch Nay.
Now I was told that there was gold and wealth in foreign parts, but millionaires can have their cares, in fact have broken hearts. But a heart so light and a smile so bright you won't find far away as what you've got in a fisher's cot on the banks of sweet Loch Ness. I have met some friends, they of my youth, who too were forced to roam. With tear-filled eyes they recognize that there's no place like home. And if God would grant one wish they want, and for that wish they pray, it's a peaceful bed to lay their head on the banks of sweet Loch Ness. Where is that pretty Colleen now, with whom I went to school? Perhaps she's took a woman's vows and follows the golden rule. And I'm alone and far from home, no children bright and gay. Sad is my lot from a fisher's cot on the banks of sweet Loch Ness. But now, dear friends, my muse's end, I am coming home once more. By the shady nook I'll bait my hook along that emerald shore. My line to haul, my nets to trawl, my boat to bring to bay, never more to roam from my cherished home on the banks of sweet Loch Ness.
Yep, I know.
Go on, lads.
Aye. On the land of Loch lived an old saint, renowned for his learning and piety. His manners were curious and quaint, and he looked upon girls with disparity. Fa la 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 lay, fa la 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 dee, fa la 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 lay, fa la 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 dee. Now he was fond of reading a book when he found one to his wishes, and he was fond of casting his hook, oh well in among the young fishes. Fa la 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 lay, fa la 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 dee, fa la 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 lay, fa la 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 dee. Oh, one day while he was out fishing, he caught a fine big trout, sir. When Kathleen came over the way to see what the old monk was about, sir. Fa la 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 lay, fa la 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 dee, fa la 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 lay, fa la 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 dee. Oh, you're a mighty fine fisher, says Kate, and you are the boy that can hook them. But when you have caught them so late, you'll want a young woman to cook them. Fa la 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 lay, fa la 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 dee, fa la 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 lay, fa la 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 dee. Oh, go away from me, says the saint, for I am a man of great piety, and me good manners I wouldn't taint, not be mixing with female society. Fa la 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 lay, fa la 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 dee, fa la 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 lay, fa la 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 dee. Oh, but Kitty, she wouldn't give in, and when he got back to his rockery, oh, she was a-sitting therein, a-polishing up his old crockery. Fa la 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 lay, fa la 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 dee, fa la 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 lay, fa la 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 dee. Well, he gave the poor creature a shake, and I wish that a paler had caught him, for he threw her right into the lake, and me the jays she sank to the bottom. Fa la 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 lay, fa la 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 dee, fa la 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 lay, fa la 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 dee. Oh, quick look.
He changes the law. Huh?
Visit London Lockwood, Larry too.
All right. Oh, thanks, Terry.
So we're just going to have 3 more singers. So Ray didn't guess. Okay, Ray, sing the first song, and I'd like to ask Len to come back and sing the last song, and then in the tradition of the club, the person who sang the first song will sing the last song, and that'll be Frank Nugent. But can I just sort of remark that Frank was doing Trojan work, running around with the microphone all night. Thank you for that. Mar Gerha Oscale ni Nyart go Corla Kayla, and that's what this is all about. Okay, so Ray first, then Len, and then Frank.
Oh, we had to make the beaches from a lousy LCI, and the landing ramps were swaying like a Portsmouth dockyard drunk. Oh, she pitched us and she heaved us till we had to land or die. And by the time we made it, half the tank support had sunk. So a seasick, sodden rabble, we ran blindly everywhere, while the Germans thinned their numbers out at Saint-Aubin-sur-Mer. While the Germans thinned their numbers out at Saint-Aubin-sur-Mer. We had practiced, we'd practiced at the great invasion plan, storming undefended beaches on a friendly Dorset shore. But as the tanks were grinding through the wounded in the sand, we knew we weren't on friendly beaches in Blighty anymore. So we grew up very quickly as we moved out through street and town, shooting first and asking after in Saint-Aubin-sur-Mer. Shooting first and asking after at Saint-Aubin-sur-Mer. We had patriotic heroes, we had make-believe old sweats, but none of us had come with 1914 innocence. Oh, sugar. We had patriotic heroes, we had make-believe old sweats, but none of us had come with 1914 innocence. If we paid the bill again for them, this time they'd not forget, and there'd be a golden future when the present job was done. But hero sweat our dreamer, the old reaper didn't care, as the Germans swung their side through us at Saint-Aubin-sur-Mer. Aye, the Germans swung their side through us at Saint-Aubin-sur-Mer. And now I see the glory of the brave new world we've made. From the slaughter and the sacrifice, the maiming and the pain. And I see the lying leaders as they posture and parade, and they trample on the dead men's dreams and ride to war again. So don't tell me I was lucky to come back from over there. Oh, the lucky ones died with their dreams at Saint-Aubin-sur-Mer. Aye, the lucky ones died with their dreams at Saint-Aubin-sur-Mer. I struggled with that, didn't I? I struggled.
A wee song of salutation, and this was one of the singers that used to sing at these big gatherings of the Antrim Dairy Fiddlers away back, and she's dead a long time, must be nearly 50 years. Mary McGill. She lived at the foot of Slamish Mountain, and whenever she sang this, we used to ceilidh with her a lot, and her brother Patrick, and this song would be sung It was a sort of gentle hint to say if you know home to go to. The cock would usually be crowing outside whenever this would happen, whenever she'd start singing this wee song. Happy are we all together, happy are we one and all. May we lead a life of pleasure, may we rise and never fall. Times are hard, we have no fortune, but good health we have for sure. This to us is more important than any wealth or worldly store. Happy are we all together, happy are we one and all. May we lead a life of pleasure, may we rise and never fall. Though how humble is our dwelling, hardships we have shared a few. Happy the day of our meeting, you to me and me to you. Happy are we all together, happy are we one and all. May we lead a life of pleasure, may we rise and never fall. See the miser with his riches, watching o'er with cautious eye. But we'll have fun and social pleasure, and spend our time in harmony. Happy are we all together, happy are we one and all. May we lead a life of pleasure, may we rise and never fall. Friendship makes the heart grow fonder, friendship makes us all unite. Friendship brings us all together, 'twas friendship brought us here tonight. Happy are we all together, happy are we one and all. May we lead a life of pleasure, may we rise and never fall.
So, just as I said, this will be the last song, and Frank will sing it. Can we just say thanks to the Push Pull Cooperative? They've been doing great work here. Jamie and Dave. And some of the messages that are coming in were being heard loud and clear all over the place. And Antonia O'Farrakhan says, looking and sounding good. So, Frank, you can sing the last song.
Well, many of you will have seen wonderful photographs from Antarctica this week. The Endurance was found in the Weddell Sea. Now, some of you will know that in 1997, I was co-leader of an expedition that tried to recreate the Shackleton adventure, sailing from Elephant Island to South Georgia. And we were the first team. Unfortunately, we capsized 3 times trying to get to South Georgia in a force 10 gale. If anyone wants to know what that's like in the Southern Ocean, I can tell you, I'm so delighted to be still alive. But anyway, I did manage to lead the first team since Shackleton to cross the island of South Georgia back in January of 1997. So a guy, when we were raising money for the expedition, we had a fantastic session down in Mother Redcaps. And of course, Luke was the MC, Frank Hart and the Voice Squad were the main contenders, and Sean Potts and people like that played. I just think about it, it was such a wonderful thing. Anyway, this song was written by Brian Leach from Clondalkin, and he wrote that song around 1987, and it tells the story of the Endurance. In the year of 1914, as the world prepared for war, an Irishman named Shackleton prepared for southern shores. In a ship he called Endurance, and a crew he hired to go, made way to cross the South Pole, and the cold Antarctic flows. Oh, they set out in December with provisions, crew and stores, and charted for the Weddell Sea, where he'd been twice before. He planned to cross that continent where men and dogs run free, and meet Aurora, her sister ship, in the frozen Ross Sea. Oh, Shackleton, Boss Shackleton, you're the bravest of them all. Oh, Shackleton, Boss Shackleton, when your back's against the wall. Oh, amongst the frozen ice floes, oh, your legend it began. Oh, wise and true Boss Shackleton, you never lost a man. Oh, alas, endurance was no match for the massive drifting pack. Caught in a drifting ice field, oh, she's never coming back. In October she was frozen in Antarctica's icy grip. November crushed and sunk her, they were lost without a ship. Had they struggled for survival in the land of the midnight freeze, pulled 3 boats and provisions across the ice of the Weddell Sea, 700 miles to Elephant Isle, hauling boats through the winter snow, to make it safely with all his men in the boats they had to row. Oh, Shackleton, Boss Shackleton, you're the bravest of them all. Oh, Shackleton, Boss Shackleton, when your back's against the wall. Oh, among the frozen ice floes, oh, your legend it began. Oh, wise and true Boss Shackleton, you never lost a man. Oh, in the James Caird boat, 6 men set out for South George's wild domain, at the mountain expedition to save those that would remain. They rode 800 weary miles through the South Atlantic sway, and 17 days on, in a bitter storm, they reached King Haakon Bay. Oh, they found the whaling station in South George's rugged back, across uncharted wilderness where no whalers dared to trek. They heard the welcome whistle of the whalers' morning call. And the boss had beaten all the odds when the chances were so small. Oh, Shackleton, Boss Shackleton, you're the bravest of them all. Oh, Shackleton, Boss Shackleton, when your back's against the wall. Oh, amongst the frozen ice floes, oh, your legend it began. Oh, wise and true Boss Shackleton, you never lost a man. Oh, the cradle of the blizzard is no earthly place to be. When you're searching for your shipmates and you're 3 years out at sea, and they found a channel through the ice and the shore boats reached dry land. Boss Shackleton had saved his men, he greeted every hand. Oh, Antarctica's a lonely place when your life is lost and won. Oh, Endurance crew had all been saved in the land of the midnight sun. His shipmates' survival was his one and true great cause. For brave, undaunted Shackleton, not a man was lost. Oh, Shackleton, Boss Shackleton, you're the bravest of them all. Oh, Shackleton, Boss Shackleton, when your back's against the wall. Oh, amongst the frozen ice floes, oh, your legend it began. Oh, wise and true Boss Shackleton, you never lost a man. Yeah. Great song.
Neither did you.
No, I very well. So you want to hear?